Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Deleted. An anonymous person messaged me, female 27, saying that my boyfriend, male 29 of 3 years, was arrested. Can you help me know what I should do next? I have been with Jason for just over 3 years and I have never had any concerns or any obvious red flags about his behavior. He has always been very respectful to me throughout all our relationship. We moved in together about 8 months ago and our relationship has been solid. I barely ever use Facebook, so never really got around to changing my relationship status on there. But 3 weeks ago, I just randomly decided to do it and tag Jason. All the public comments on that post were normal things you expect from family and friends, etc. Even though everyone I know closely already is aware we're in a relationship. Didn't think anything of it and moved on with my life. Last Sunday, however, I opened back up my Facebook and I noticed I had a message request from the day after I posted the relationship update. I opened it and the name on the account wasn't a name I recognized, but it was a male name. They had sent me a long message saying they saw my post and thought that I should know about Jason's past. They said they knew Jason and said that 7 years ago, Jason was arrested for serious crimes that I'm not sure I even feel comfortable saying on here. But they were very, very serious claims. They said in the message that they thought I should know. I messaged them back and asked them who they were, how they knew Jason, and how I knew if what they were saying was true. They replied saying they knew Jason from years ago when he was arrested. He said he wasn't giving his real name and that I didn't need to believe him. He said ask Jason about it. I messaged back and he has read some of them, but then went offline and didn't answer anything after that. Obviously, reading it all made me very anxious and I didn't know what to do and I had no idea if I should even believe what this person is saying. I didn't say anything to Jason that day, but it was really eating me and Jason noticed that I was being off with him. So I asked him to talk and I said that I had got a weird message from someone claiming things about him. He looked confused. He asked what they said, and so I told him what the account said. His face went red all over. He looked genuinely panicked and said it wasn't true, but he looked very panicked. He said again, that's not true. He got up, grabbed his keys and left. I texted him after he left and said I was sorry, that I wasn't accusing him of anything, because I really wasn't. I was just telling him about the weird message I received. He said he understood, but he was hurt that I was even repeating those things about him and he decided to stay at his mom's house for the night. He hasn't come back since. I am unsure if I acted wrongly here. I genuinely was not accusing him of what the message said, but I also feel like I had to tell him about it. I couldn't have kept it a secret. This has been our first fight that lasted multiple days. I've been texting him every morning saying I hope he has a good day and he heart reacts to them but hasn't responded. I'm unsure if I acted wrongly here. Well, Peep, I don't think you did anything wrong. You got some information regardless of whether it's true or false, and what you did was the right thing. You went to your partner to talk about it. What I think is his reaction is a bit weird. Getting angry at something that's a lie, and it's not like you've made it public or anything, so him getting upset at you for repeating it back to him, that's just odd, and now he's totally ghosting you and in his mom's house, not answering you. Look, I don't know if he's guilty of what the accusations were or not, but his behavior does put things in a question mark. If I were you, I'd give him maybe a couple more days of space, but then I'd tell him, look, we have to talk about this reaction of yours, and we need to see if this relationship moves forward or not. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. I Hate Slow Drivers says, you didn't do anything wrong. He's gaslighting and guilt-tripping you. If my wife came to me and said some random dude on Facebook said XYZ about me, I'd be asking her to see these messages and get to the bottom of it. World Walla says, I was convinced the DM was a scam until your boyfriend left the table. You don't have to apologize for asking a question. Delicia says, girl, whatever was in those messages, he's done it. He wouldn't have left and would have made sure his good name was protected otherwise. And Better Emu 1035 says, if this isn't a red flag that something is up, I don't know what is. Not sure what the crimes are, but you need to act under the assumption he did them if he's acting this way and proceed with caution. That person has done you a huge solid, and you're not asking the right questions, like what is his real name so you can look yourself. Start investigating and start mentally preparing for the fact that they may be true. If he can lie so easily and twist the narrative to, how could you believe that, instead of, wow, that's terrible, I'd never do that. Let me show you why XYZ isn't true. And whatever you do, don't share that person's name with your boyfriend. They did you a solid, and if the crimes are as bad as you say, then you don't want to endanger that person for trying to help you. Good luck. Alright, well, the community agrees that this is weird and that OP should take steps to be careful. So now let's move on to the first of two updates to see what happened next. Firstly, thank you everyone for your advice and for helping me realize. After I had read all of the comments, I messaged him saying he needs to talk to me. He needs to tell me the whole truth, and because of his reaction, he needs to convince me of whatever he says, and he needs to do it by the end of today or the relationship is finished. He messaged back this morning and said he was coming over to talk. I do want to say though, he has never acted this way before. He has always been very communicative and able to express himself and his emotions without placing blame or anger, if you get what I mean. He's been in therapy since he was a child, so I suppose it comes from that. So the way he acted when I told him about the message was very unusual and shocked me, honestly. So he came over and we spoke. He told me that this is difficult for him to speak about, and I said I appreciated that, but he needs to be honest with me now or we can't continue our relationship. He told me that what the message said was true, but it wasn't how it sounded. I'm going to tell you exactly what he said because I'm honestly still at a loss and feel so confused and overwhelmed. He explained his side of the story. He brought me a file with documents inside. He says that's all the evidence he has to explain what happened. He went through them with me, explaining as he was going through. His story was that he was hired by a family as a sort of live-in babysitter. He would stay in the house looking after the children during school breaks and weekends while his main job was a teacher. He says that he realized in hindsight that their oldest son, Max, who was 14, had some sort of crush on him. Jason said that with retrospect, he should have realized sooner and done something to protect himself, but he said he didn't realize until it was too late. I asked Jason to explain what he meant because that didn't make sense to me. He said he has worked for the family for almost 5 years, and so he had seen the 3 children grow up, that the parents treated him very much like a part of the family. Then he said in the last year, Max started acting strangely around Jason. For example, he said when Max got a phone, the parents asked Jason to add him as a contact. So for things like if Max wanted to go out with friends while Jason was babysitting. Jason agreed. It was okay for a while. Then Max started sending him a lot of messages and like calling Jason midweek just to talk. Jason said he thought it was weird, but wasn't sure how to communicate that, so he just stopped responding to Max completely while outside of the role as the babysitter. He told me a lot more detail, but I don't want to share everything here. But it led up to one day while Jason was babysitting, Max apparently made a pass at him, and then Jason said he realized that Max had some sort of weird crush on him. Jason said he told them that this behavior wasn't appropriate and that he was going to have to speak to the parents. Max apparently went crazy and locked himself in his bedroom. Jason said he immediately called the parents and said they needed to come home. He said he explained everything that happened and said it probably wasn't a good idea for him to continue working with Max. He said at the time they all agreed and Jason went home. 2 days later, the police knocked on the door and arrested him. Jason says that Max claimed he had basically been grooming him and his little brother for years, and Max claimed that Jason had, well, I'm sure you know what I mean. Jason said the investigation lasted 6 months, but the only time he actually spent in jail was when he was waiting for his lawyer to arrive when he was first arrested. He said he knew he was innocent, so he complied with the police as much as he could. but he said it was the worst time of his life. Jason said because of it, his girlfriend broke up with him, he lost both his jobs as the babysitter obviously, but also because he was arrested and under investigation, he lost his job as a teacher also. He said that time of his life was hell and he never wanted to revisit it. When he said he was cleared of charges, he just wanted to forget about it and move on with his life. I asked why he didn't tell me any of this before. He said that's not something people understand when you explain. He said he was sorry for how he acted, but he was just shocked and so confused about who even would know this. After he explained everything, I took some time just reading through all the documents he had. They were supporting what he was saying. I said if I could talk to his friends about this or someone else, so I can see what they understand. He said no, which shocked me a bit. He said none of his friends know about this and he wants to keep it that way. He said I could talk to his parents or his sisters about it, but not his friends. We spoke a bit longer and I said I would prefer if he stayed at his mom's house until I had processed everything. He said that was a good idea. We decided to meet up tomorrow to talk again. But I'm confused and I feel like I don't know what to do. I'm genuinely at a loss and I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, OP, now I do not understand. Why do you need to talk to his friends about this? He clearly doesn't want anybody to know. He already told you could talk to his parents and his sister. He was cleared of the charges. He was found innocent. He has all the gathered evidence and he gave it to you. Like seriously, something like he went through is potentially life-destroying and you want him to try to relive it for your peace of mind? He gave you everything already. And I gotta say, I got the suspicion that the tipster, I don't know, could have been Max. Anyways, we have a final update, so let's move on with that to see how the story ends. He broke up with me, so I don't know what it means now and I wish I had never seen the message. I texted him later last night after we spoke. I said I was having a hard time digesting everything. He said he understands and told me to take as much time as I needed. He said this was difficult for him to talk about, how it was the worst time of his life, but he said ask him whatever questions I wanted and he would answer to the best of his understanding. But he said to be mindful because the topic was painful for him. In retrospect, this shows he's trying to guilt me into not asking him questions about it. No, he was just telling you it's difficult to talk about for him. I said I was just having doubts about him because of everything now. It is going to make me struggle to see him the same way moving forward. I said I wanted to move on, but he's going to have to build my trust back. And I said honestly, it's going to be in the back of my mind whenever I see him around children now. I told him I'm sorry, but I'm just saying the truth, but I wanted to work with him and build our relationship back up. But he's going to have to work hard to prove to me that he really is innocent if he wants our relationship to last. He just replied, oh. I asked him what that means. He said he doesn't really think that's fair on him. I did nothing wrong. I just replied, well, if that's true, you'll have no issue proving it. He didn't tell me this for our whole 3-year relationship. Of course I've lost trust in him. He left me on red for about 2 hours, which is childish. He sends me back this big message about how he did everything right, and yet this allegation is still ruining his life and how it wasn't fair. He went on to say a lot of stuff. He went on this big rant saying he has given me everything to show what he's saying is true. He said he complied with the police with everything they asked. He said they found nothing because he was innocent. Again, he said it ruined his life. He goes on this big story about how he lost his first teaching job, how he had to work from rock bottom while also having this allegation on his background check for the rest of his life. He said all this stuff that wasn't relevant about how he has to spend his whole life convincing people that what they read on paper isn't what it means, that he isn't some monster and that people will still look at him with suspicion in their eyes. He said people read it on paper and then they don't care what you say, you're guilty. He said he didn't want me to know about that because he didn't want me looking at him differently. He didn't want another person who looks at him like a criminal when I did nothing wrong, all in caps like this. He then sends a follow-up saying he thought he had finally moved on, found a job that trusts him, found a girlfriend he loves, but he's realized he's never going to have that. He's never going to have a life where he can just be normal. So he said, what's the point? He said he won't live in relationships where his girlfriend is second guessing everything he does. In my eyes, that message is a breakup. So I asked him if he was breaking up with me. He just replied that he's not going to spend his life trying to prove to someone that he is innocent of a crime he never committed. He said he's done it with the police. I'm not doing it with you after 7 years. And that he's not living like that for the rest of his life either. He said, I love you, but I'm not living like that. You accept me or I'm not doing it. I will give you time. I will give you space. I will answer any questions you have. But if you're telling me you are never going to see me the same way, if you tell me you're not going to trust me ever again, that you're going to look at me for the rest of my life and see those allegations, then yeah, I guess I'm not living like that. He then asked that I don't tell anyone about what I know. He said it will only ruin his life more if more people know. He said that therapy would be a good place where I could confidentially be open about this, which seems a bit controlling to me now. In my eyes, that's not him working with me to prove himself. So I said, I guess we're broken up then. He's deleted all his social media and he isn't responding to any of my messages anymore, which is so childish. I can't believe he's acting this way to me. He's never been like this before. I spoke to my best friend about everything and she told me she thinks I'm the one who ruined their relationship and now I'm just so sad. Did I ruin this with him? I'm not going to be posting anymore. Wow, OP, you are a major moron. Yeah, you ruined your relationship. I would have broken up with you after the first paragraph of this final update. He already proved his innocence to the police. Who do you think you are? Telling him that if he wanted to move on, he's going to have to build your trust back. And that this is going to be in the back of your mind whenever you see him around children. Your friend is right. You ruined it. Good on Jason for ending the relationship and getting away from you. I hope he never has to go through this kind of crap again. Jason, wherever you are, here's wishing you the best. Take care. I have nothing else to say to you, OP. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Throwaray Forget Me Not. My co-worker was being a tool, so I nailed this to the floor. I'm a woman who works in construction. I mainly wood-framed apartment complexes for the majority of my career. I am also usually the only female on the job site, so I have to often decide how to handle the interactions with my male colleagues. If I lose my cool, I run the risk of being labeled a bitch or get talked about even if a colleague deserves it. One day on the job, I collected all the ladders that were on the job site because they often get left behind. We work in one direction and move up floors when we finish a floor. I piled the ladders neatly and by size and then got to working on my task for the day. Well, I had my 6-foot ladder and my nail gun, but needed more nails. So I had to run down to the Connex to carry 3 10-pound boxes up 5 flights of stairs. And when I got upstairs back to my area, my ladder was gone. A co-worker had taken it. I asked him why he didn't just take from the pile that was on the other side of the room, and he shrugged and asked me why I can't just do the same. Like, dude, it's the principle of it. Because if I would have stolen his or anyone's ladder they were using and there was a pile of them in eyesight, I would have gotten my ass chewed out and I would have had to take it on the chin. The unfairness of it all pissed me off and I waited till break. When everyone went to either their car or the break area, I hid out in the porta potty. I took note of his tool bag before everyone went on break, and when I found it, I nailed that son of a bitch to the floor. I even took lags, big ass screws that would go into wood, and screwed those in and bent them over. Best part is that I used different sizes, ranging from a 4-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch. You can't pull those out either. You gotta unscrew it because the grips are so coarse. He never said anything, neither did our 12 co-workers, so I'm assuming he never knew it was me. Additional information. The bags I'm talking about are called pouches. They go around your waist and have pockets for all your tools. Also, I didn't make any holes or punctured anything or damaged his property. The pouches are secured around the waist like a heavy-duty belt, so I just used the holes that were already there. Also, there are ringlets for stuff that can hang like a hammer, and I used those holes, put a few nails in, and bend them over. OP's edit. Here's some information to clarify a few things. For those saying I'm a horrible person for damaging company property and stuff, it all gets covered by Gip Creep anyway. For those saying he knew it was me, I ended up texting a friend about it and asked if the guy suspected anyone. I guess he didn't know. Shrug. It was a few years ago when it happened. For those saying this feels fake, I feel like y'all haven't worked on a job site. Like I said, I mainly worked in residential wood framing, but recently I switched over to commercial where I do a lot of steel stud and drywalls now, so less pranks on this side, but it still happens. Residential has a little more savagery than commercial work. Pranks are pulled on job sites. We got a lot done and work hard, and we do pranks to keep things interesting. Some more fun stories. I was working for a company that was the general contractor for the project. The electricians were giving us a hard time, and so our foreman intercepted their delivery and used the crane to put it on the roof. They were looking for their crap for like 20 minutes. Once seen a guy's cart with like 50 pounds of tools nailed to the wall 6 feet up. A buddy of mine nailed a co-worker's chair to the ceiling, telling apprentices to go find the board stretcher. And again, I did not damage his property. I did not hide his stuff or damage it. For example, it would be like if you hung your keys on a hook at work and I tied the keys to the hook. It just takes a few extra seconds to get it off. I get it, OP. It's just job site ribbing. He took your ladder, you nailed his belt to the floor. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.